Hey guys, I am hopping on live here while I have a moment, and I wanted to make a video that addresses a lot of the issues that some customers will come to me with. A lot of this can be just fixed by troubleshooting. So I'm just going to go through a couple troubleshooting tips for before you apply, during the application, and things that you can do during the day to make sure that you're getting the best use of your LipSense. And I know that sometimes I forget that a lot of you haven't actually been using it yet. So for those of you who haven't really used it yet or are new to it and are experiencing these problems and not seeing anything, this will probably help you a little bit. So I'm going to be looking down at my notes because I know that I will forget because I am super forgetful. That's what happens when you have lots of kids to take care of. So, first of all, everyone is different. Everybody has like different pH balances and their skin is different and reacts to things differently. So, up front, LipSense is not going to be for everyone. If you try it and you try these troubleshooting tips and you're just not getting it and it's just not working out for you, that is completely understandable. I have tried many different things and wanted them to work, but they just don't work for me, and that's fine. No judgment. That's why we have an awesome return policy. So that is, keep that in mind throughout all of this, because if it's just not working, that's okay. So before you apply, make sure that your lips are clean and dry. This is super, super important, especially if you have already applied foundation or moisturizer, anything to your face at all before applying LipSense. Because what happens is that stuff gets on your lips, and then you go to apply it, and then it's just not going to stick to your lips the way it's supposed to. So make sure that you clean your lips really good. There are a couple ways to do that. You can use witch hazel, you can use soap and water, you can use just water on a washcloth, and you can also, I've heard this isn't recommended, but I've done it before, and my motto is, if it works, it works. That's it. Oops remover before application. I've done this a couple times. It does work, but I don't know if I would do it every time. Maybe if I've been noticing that the last few times of wearing it hasn't been lasting as long, maybe the next time I'll use Oops to prime my lips before. So I would just put the Oops on, rub it off, and then apply my LipSense like normal. Okay, so during your application, it's important also to stretch out your lips so that they're nice and tight, so you have like a nice smooth canvas to work with. And think of it like that because you're basically painting this onto yourself. You want to swipe in one direction, do not go back and forth. And I heard a great analogy that it's almost as if you're using a dry erase marker and you write something onto the whiteboard with a dry erase marker, and if you try to write through it, it kind of picks up the whatever that is, like the ink from the marker, it picks it up. So it leaves like a little mark streak through what you previously wrote. The same thing happens with LipSense. So if you're swiping one way and then you go back this way, I've done it a couple times myself, and you can see the streak. And because it stays so long, the streak stays there too. So make sure you're not doing that. Remember to let it dry between your layers, especially before glossing. This is a huge one for me, and I always have to remind myself of this because I am not a patient person. I want it done and let's go. So to tell me to wait between my layers, I'm like, I don't have time for this. But it is really important if you want your LipSense to last longer. And I usually say like 10 seconds to 30 seconds in between, depending on the type of color I'm putting on. Like if I'm putting on, I find that the shimmers go on best with the least drying time in between. The darker, more pigmented colors, the matte colors, those ones you want to wait just a little bit longer. Like apple cider, mulled wine, you want to wait longer with those. Also, if you are using matte gloss, a lot of people don't like to hear this, but, and I know you don't want shiny lips, and you won't have shiny lips if you do this, use your glossy first and wait about 10 minutes and then put the matte on top of that. That way, even though your lips will look matte, you're still getting those moisturizing benefits. If your lips are dry and flaking, keep this in mind. LipSense is not drying. A lot of people will see it and off the bat say, oh my gosh, that has to be super drying for your lips. It's a stain, blah, blah, blah. It's not a stain. It just bonds to your lips, and it does not, I know when I take off my LipSense at the end of the day, my lips don't feel dry underneath that. I never have a problem with my lips being dry because of using this, and I use it almost every day. So check for the following if you are experiencing any dryness or flaking. First of all, this is super important because I know a lot of us have this issue and probably don't even realize it, but make sure you're not actually dehydrated. I know for me, I get dehydrated very easily. I try to carry water everywhere I go, but make sure that you're not actually dehydrated, because one of the first places that this is going to show up is on your skin. So, you know, that's usually a good sign that you do need to up your water intake. Your exfoliation period, you might be going through your exfoliation period if LipSense is new to you, and you're new to LipSense. This is normal. Your lips will slough off all of these old skin cells anyway as a natural process. But if you've been using wax actually holds in moisture rather than letting moisture in. And so the shea butter and the gloss, and our gloss, will do the opposite. It will hydrate your lips, but it also lets moisture in. So it doesn't keep anything out. So this exfoliation period can last for a couple of days. It can last for a couple of weeks. For me, it lasted about a month for me. I was a little bit nervous. I thought maybe that, like I said in the beginning, like LipSense wasn't going to work for me, and which would have been fine, but I got through the exfoliation period. I don't have an issue with drying anymore, so that is good. So just give yourself some time and see what happens. And if you do have this problem, I recommend stop using the color and just use the gloss. Gloss during the day, gloss at night. I like to recommend using coconut oil before you go to bed at night. I use coconut oil pretty much for everything. And it's an amazing moisturizer. So definitely works on your lips, and it won't create any problems with your application the next day. During the day, if you're feeling like, if you're wearing it and you're feeling like your lips feel like almost as if they have crumbs on them, or if they're drying out, remember to gloss during the day. A lot of people forget, especially when they start using it, that in order to keep your color looking good and lasting throughout the day, that you need to remember to gloss throughout the day. When I first started using it, during the first 2 weeks, I was glossing nonstop. And I was thinking, okay, well, this is silly because, yeah, you don't need to reapply the color, but you have to reapply this gloss all day. What is this? But as my lips got hydrated, I needed less and less gloss throughout the day. Now I need gloss maybe once or probably twice a day. I also like the feeling of my lips being wet, so I use it more, but I don't necessarily have to in order to keep away that crummy feeling. Make sure that you're shaking your tube really well before you apply, because a lot of the times that crummy feeling is pigments that haven't actually settled, or that have settled, and you're putting those settled pigments directly onto your lips. And so once they dry, once the alcohol evaporates, you've got this pigment on you, and it will make that texture on your lip. If you have vertical cracks or any patchiness on your lips, it's very possible and likely that you are unknowingly applying or knowingly applying your layers very thick. And because of that, it doesn't allow the pigments to bond correctly. So remember to use thin, consistent layers. Also, let's see, if you have color coming off on your gloss applicator, again, I should follow my own advice. Be patient. Allow your color to dry, because that is going to be why your color is coming off on the gloss applicator. You're not being patient. That's me. Tingling. Tingling is normal, especially if you're new. But if you're feeling it again and you've been using LipSense, it's probably because your lips are dry or you just exfoliated them. It will go away. You're not having an allergic reaction. I freaked out when I first applied it, and I was almost thinking like, oh crap, do I have Benadryl? Because I thought I was having an allergic reaction, and I wasn't. It's fine. And oh yeah, reapplying your gloss. Back to that. Make sure you're reapplying your gloss before you eat and after you eat, because although LipSense is really magical and stays really long, it's not like you have to still take care of it. And if you're eating like me, which is all day, then yeah, your gloss is gonna come off a bit, and you wanna protect that color. So that and the waterline. Waterline is a big issue. I still struggle with this one, so I'm still getting the hang of it. But to touch up your waterline, it's normal. So your waterline is right here. This is where your saliva meets your lips, and if you're like me, you're a lip biter or a lip licker, and it causes issues on your waterline. It makes it fade a lot faster than the rest of your mouth. And to fix that, you would, okay, so say it's like you put on your color maybe at like 8 o'clock in the morning, and by, I don't know, 1 or 2, you notice your waterline is like, ooh, not looking so hot. So what you're going to take is a paper towel or some kind of dry absorbent thing, and make sure your lips are super dry. So dry them off, take off any gloss you might have on, dry them off, dry your waterline. Keep your lips separated. Take your color, reapply it in one swipe on the bottom, and then whatever you do on the top, and get your waterline. Let that dry. Let it dry really well, because it's your waterline, so it might take a little bit longer. And then take another layer, and then just do your full lip, because it'll just blend it right in. Put your gloss back on, and it will last you till the end of the night. But that is a common issue. So that's for anybody who is like struggling, wondering if they're doing it right, or just thinking, you know what, this product doesn't work the way that it's marketed to work. It does work if you know, pay attention to how you're applying it and what else is going on with your body. Other than that, that's all I have, and I am gonna go to hang out with my family. So have a good rest of your weekend, everybody.